Have you ever wondered about the roles of school counselors and vice principals? These positions are crucial to the smooth functioning of a school, yet most people only have a vague idea of what they do based on movies and TV shows. For one, vice principals assist the principal in important day-to-day decision-making and such, taking on various responsibilities at the school. When the principal is gone, the vice principal often becomes the principal for that day. Furthermore, counselors are also essential to a healthy public school. They help students with their mental well-being and guide them in selecting classes.
Because of this, in today's interview, we'll be speaking with Ms. Enriquez, the Vice Principal of Rodriguez Prep, along with Mr. Rodriguez and Mr. Hernandez, both counselors at our school. Mr. Rodriguez helps 6th and 7th grade students, and Ms. Hernandez works with 7th and 8th grade students. So get ready. This episode will be an all-school mania. Can you two please introduce yourselves?
I'm Miss Hernandez. This is my first year as a school counselor, my first year here at Rodriguez Prep Academy.
And I'm Mr. Rodriguez, school counselor. I've been at Rodriguez Prep, I think 8 years now, maybe 7. But I was a classroom teacher before that. I taught 4th and 5th grade, and then I became a counselor. Yeah.
Can you describe for us a typical day for you as a school counselor? Like, what do you guys usually do throughout your day? Just in your office, or you just doing stuff?
Just waiting for things to happen. No, I think that's a misconception that sometimes, even teachers or students think that we're just there in our office when that's not the case. So as school counselors, we can plan our day and we can, have a schedule with the things we want to accomplish that day, but things happen. During the day, students need our support, especially if there's a situation that they're in crisis, they're in a need. So that could throw our whole plan away. So what essentially a typical day looks for me is, first of all, we're coming in, we want to be visible. So when the first bell rings, we're out there saying hi to students, good morning to students. Then you guys go to class, and then I check my emails, and then I determine what is my priority for the day. What are things that I need to check on depending on what, kind of like where we at in the semester, right? So right now we're at the end of the semester. So it's making sure I'm checking in with all 8th graders. If there's things that they still need to turn in for high school or anything like that, that will be my priority. Sometimes we have parent meetings, or maybe we have parent calling, or teachers expressing concerns too. So it just, like I said, we can have our schedule, but then it could be changed.
Yeah. My rule always is if there's a student crisis, it overrides anything else I have on my calendar. But I do have a calendar for the day. And kind of like Ms. Hernandez, I come in and just make myself visible. I'm fortunate that I have that office that has the outside door, because Ms. Hernandez is inside the library. So I always open my door in the morning, and my door is always open. Just anyone ever needs anything, they can come in. But yeah, checking my emails, making sure that there's nothing urgent that needs to be taken care of. Otherwise, I kind of just follow my schedule that I have set for myself. Unless an urgent matter comes up, then all that kind of goes to the side so that I can address whatever urgent matter came up. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Going off what you said, can you share how you handle crisis situations involving students?
Yeah, you want to go?
So it really depends on the situation, on how we go about dealing with those situations. So sometimes, we could get a call from the office and, we have a student here who needs support, or maybe there could be a conflict between students, and then our administration needs that support. So it just depends on depends on the situation.
Yeah. Because a crisis is different for everyone. For a student, a crisis that morning might be something that might necessarily be a crisis for somebody else. But anyway, so if it's a crisis for a student, then we address it depending on the need. If it's a mental health crisis, then we have a protocol for that too. Like if students need support. And at the end of the day, all it comes down to is us identifying what the need is so that we can best support you. And if it's not us, that's like the best person to support. Our job and what we do is we find that best support for our students, depending on the crisis.
I need to pause you guys. Francis, you got to go to the PD room to finish testing. Very sorry.
Francis, good luck on your test.
I'll see the same.
Yeah, you got to bring your backpack in.
Where?
PD room, so right by the counselor's office.
Right next to my office. Good luck, Francis.
You guys can continue whatever you're ready.
Okay.
That does kind of like make sense though, because it's like every single crisis is different for everyone. But then also sometimes people like put off their like crises. They're like, it doesn't matter, you know, or they like bottle it up. And sometimes like even if you don't come to the counselor, like the counselor calls you, they're like, and then you're able to like help yourself with that. So I'm glad that you're still like here to help out many kids, and I'm glad that you'll just throw your day away just to help one person, even if it's just one person, even if it's like 10 kids.
You bring up a good point, Evelyn, because sometimes the crisis isn't brought to our attention by the student themselves. Sometimes they have a trusted friend. They'll come and let us know. Sometimes we find out through like emails.
Or even teacher, or even just noticing, because like, even though we might not check in with the student like every day, like we're out there and we're noticing things. So if we see a student who it's acting a different way that day, then we know, hey, something's going on. So it tells me I need to check in with that student, and we collaborate, right? Like I know Mr. Rodriguez check-ins with 6th graders, and then I do 8th graders. But if he noticed something, then he lets me know, and vice versa, and with teachers too. Like there's a collaboration.
And in a crisis situation, at the end of the day, our rule is it doesn't matter whose student it is. If I can address the crisis, then I do it. Same thing with Mr. Hernandez.
Mm-hmm.
When it's a crisis situation, it doesn't matter whose counselor is who. We just jump right in. Yeah.
What are some ways that you guys build trust with the students?
One of the ways that I build trust, I think, is just by being a good listener. You know, when students come to me, I try and understand the story from their perspective, understand what they're coming for, what their need is, and then trying to support as much as I can. You know, so I think being a good listener, I think helps me build trust. Another thing is just sticking to my commitments. Cause I think we are talking about that a little bit earlier. Like kids will call us out, like if we don't stick to our commitments. Like you said you were going to be in your office and you weren't either. So just making
Called you out a couple times.
Yeah, I know Ryan calls me all the time, but it's just making sure that I do keep my commitments, right? If I'm going to promise anything, it's something I can deliver. Otherwise, I'm really mindful of what I'm committing to, because I do want to honor that too. Whether it's appointments or a support or whatever it may be, just being a good listener for me, and then also just keeping my commitments with my students. That way they can, I want to be dependable. Yeah.
I agree. And to add to that, like, you know, being visible and knowing that we're here and we're out there, so students know who we are and they know that they can come to us. I think also letting, when students, you know, when they have things they want to talk about, or maybe they're having a rough day and they just want to use our calming center, it's also just letting them have that space and not push them to what's going on. Like, if you want to share with me, I'm here to hear, to listen. But if you don't want to, that's okay. I just want to make sure that you have that space to settle down and then be able to continue your day. So it's just like Mr. Rodriguez said, a good active listener. And with that being said, also noticing like, okay, that student doesn't want to open up. That's okay. I don't need to push them. And another big thing, confidentiality, right? Letting the student know that what's said in our office is confidential.
Yeah.
And then another thing for me is just knowing students' names. I really enjoy memorizing students' names and making sure when I say good morning, I'm addressing you by your name or preferred name. Because I think that goes a long way. Just hi versus hi, Ryan, right? So it goes a long way. So I think it makes me feel a certain way when they're like, hi, Ms. Hernandez, instead of just saying hi, like, oh, you're addressing me. So.
Yeah, thanks for saying that. That's big too. Just getting to know my students by name, you know, so yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I never really think about it before. Also because sometimes I just get scared that I'll like say a name wrong. So I'll just be like, hi, buddy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, so I know it makes people feel special. I'm just always like, what if I mess it up? Hi, buddy. So it just,
yeah, and that's normal because sometimes I do mess up students' names, and they might not correct me, but I know when I mess up, when friends around like giggle or smirk or do something, and I'm like, oh, sorry, how do I say your name? And then I ask them, and then they tell me, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna.
Yeah, I've had to get really comfortable with just asking it. Did I pronounce your name correctly? Because I do. I want to I want to pronounce your name correct. I want to know you. So I do ask, did I pronounce it correctly? You know,
Yeah.
it's like if I notice that I didn't.
Yeah, if I forget someone's name, I just ask them for their name or just say, I forgot your name. Straight
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. So they won't be honest.
Yeah.
You know, what was your name?
Nothing wrong with that.
And then I make it a point though to then memorize it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to keep doing that every time. You know, yeah.
I know earlier you guys were talking about how you work with teachers and parents and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, in what ways do you guys work with them to support their students?
A lot of it is a team effort, you know, team effort. So with teachers, for example, we collaborate a lot with them, right? We want to see or be seen as part of their team. So, you know, late start Mondays. You know how you guys come in late, maybe sleep in a little bit later that morning on Monday mornings?
I don't sleep in.
You don't sleep in?
I still have a bus to go to and everything. Right?
Yeah, you get a little longer day for you, but for us, so we start at the regular time, right? And we use that time for collaboration. So working with teachers, ensuring that we're supporting their programs and that they're supporting our program too, because we have a counseling program that we want support too, because we want to be able to call students out of class whenever we need it without, you know, with their support. So anyway, we collaborate a lot. We plan with teachers too. We plan different activities, different programs. Especially right now at the end of the year activities, like we're like there supporting whatever end of the year activities each grade level team is planning.
Yeah.
How do you help students who are struggling with academic pressures?
Academic pressures. It's so big at a magnet school, right? We always push the magnet contract and academic requirements and that 2.0 GPA. A lot of it becomes just, I think I work with students at balancing their life and their time, right? I think if everyone, like if you were to manage your time throughout your day, those stressors will kind of decrease a little bit, right? There'll still be a little bit of stress because naturally I think we stressors, we put pressure on ourselves to do well. But I noticed that a lot of students that come with a lot of academic stress or pressure, it's because maybe they're not utilizing their time management well enough.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe they're procrastinating. And yeah, once you wait till the last minute, then it's pressure. It's on. You know, now I got to get that 2.0 GPA or I can't go on the field trip or whatever maybe.
Or maybe with some of those people, it just takes them a bit longer to learn stuff than what goes over after.
So that's another
Good point.
Going back, identifying the reason. Is it because we're falling behind? Is it because we're not understanding? Is it because attendance is also a factor in it, that we're falling behind and now you're feeling this pressure on your grades? Or is it you are showing up, but you're not understanding? Okay, well, are we asking for help? Because that's another big skill that I've noticed that students don't essentially have is asking for help. So I feel like, especially in middle school, you're kind of, you know, you have that stereotype. If I'm asking for help, it's because I don't know, and then everybody's gonna laugh. But, you know, I always tell students, you're not the only one. I bet you in that room of 35 students, there's one more of you who is not understanding or who needs that extra guidance too. So yeah, it's addressing, first of all, figuring out what is that's happening and why we're feeling that pressure in the academics, and then making goals to taking it day by day, or maybe it's week by week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It goes back to being a good listener, right? Let me really identify what is causing that stress, right? If it's academic based, like you just really struggle with, let's say, math, right? Then we can provide, what supports can we provide? You know, like tutoring and stuff like that. Or is it time management, or is it whatever it may be? It's just being a good listener and identifying what it is. Yeah.
Going off that question, what strategies do you use to support students' mental health and well-being?
We already asked that question, I think.
Did we?
Well, it's okay.
It's more about crisis.
But I have other things though.
Yeah.
We also have like a calming station for like mental health. We have calming stations. We both do, by the way. We have a calming station, calming space, there's different names for it. And if in my office and yours too, actually, it's just a quiet corner. It's just a quiet corner. Sometimes we all need a break. You know, we all need a break from our stressors, whatever that is for the day. And the stressors sometimes aren't even school-based. Sometimes we come to school with stressors, and we understand that. So anyway, we have a calming space in our office. For me, it's a beanbag. I think it's also for you, right? Beanbag. We have fidgets. We have noise-canceling headphones. Usually 5 to 10 minutes. And then once students are done with that, my usual approach is at the end when the time is up, is ask them, do you need someone to listen, or are you ready to go back to class? And whatever it is, I respect it. Yeah, so that's one thing we can do.
Yeah. So, and with anxiety and feeling so anxious when testing or when we have a presentation or, we have those cases too, then we do grounding techniques, right? Like breathing techniques. So we also talk about sometimes when people are feeling overwhelmed or there's something affecting them, but they really don't have control of that situation. We review some technique is just writing down what can you control versus what you can't control. So it kind of paints a big picture to calming down the anxiety of whatever the situation may be. So there's, we have the calming center, but we also have other strategies or skills that we teach.
And then bringing awareness, by the way, this May is Mental Health Awareness Month, by the way. So starting next week in the morning announcements, listen to we have activities planned during lunch and stuff like that to bring awareness to mental health and how to coping strategies and things we can do to keep ourselves healthy. So anyway, this May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So listen to next week's announcements. We have some activities planned.
Yeah, that also kind of reminds me of other coping mechanisms, like the one you were talking about, like writing stuff down, like journaling. Because it's it's in the book and it's a way. Journaling personally doesn't work for me. I've tried it and it just makes me think about it more. It kind of did the opposite. But I do still do things similar to journaling, but it's not like journaling.
Like burn this book type stuff.
Oh no, I don't burn books, but I
Or a note,
paper.
burning a note, or like shredding a note.
Or,
You write down your feelings on it and just burn it.
So what do you do with your notes?
Sometimes I just make random poems that sound stupid but kind of reflect other things. Or if I don't understand something, I'll make a poem about it. Like I remember we're still reading To Kill a Mockingbird, and then I just wrote a poem about Boo Radleaf because why not?
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, but it's a not an escape, but an outlet. It's an outlet for to whatever you might be feeling, and it could be any emotion or sadness, happiness. You're mad, whatever it may be. Journaling, writing, listening to music, it's the outlet.
Yeah. But I'm glad you found something that works for you. That's the key, actually, because I have a coping menu that I'll give students sometimes, and it has maybe 15 different coping strategies listed there. And I check one off that you want to try. And if that one doesn't work, then you move on to a different one. Yeah, because sometimes they don't work. Not for me, but they work for you. But, anyway, I'm glad you found something that helps. So that's awesome.
So I have a question that people are probably wondering was, what were your guys' jobs before going to a school? And also, why'd you guys choose to become counselors?
$1 million question. For me, what did I do before? So honestly, everything that I've mostly done has surrounded around education. So my first job was actually a tutor. I was a math tutor when I was in college. I was tutoring college students, so my peers, I was tutoring them. And then after that, I worked at a school here in San Bernardino. So since I started my journey in education and becoming a school counselor, I've always worked in San Bernardino. I've gone to other districts, but always come back to San Bernardino because I share this with a lot of students. I'm a San Bernardino student. I'm a product of San Bernardino. I went to elementary school here. I graduated from San G. So for me, it was just important to just come back to the community that kind of helped me grow. So I stayed in education. I did go into marketing because I did get my bachelor's degree in marketing, but I found out that was not my passion. So then I went to interpreting, ASL. Then COVID hit. So then I kind of had to pivot to okay, what do I need to do? And I always remember I wanted to be in education, not essentially a teacher, but I wanted to do something to help students. So then counseling was an option. So that goes back to a reason why I wanted to be a counselor, just to give back because I know it's hard to find that person that can help you and support you throughout your education. So I just wanted to make sure that, I was there to give back, but help students on their day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to give up on doing the ASL?
Oh, the ASL, because COVID. So I graduated from my program, and then COVID hit and we were all online. So for the deaf community, taking online classes and a lot of events that they have to go for interpreting weren't happening. So there wasn't jobs. So that whole year was the whole, kind of like me figuring out what I wanted to do. And once we came out of the pandemic, it was really, kind of like my confidence went down because I wasn't practicing it. I wasn't really using it. So I didn't feel confident enough to go and apply and start that career, because if I'm not ready, then I'm doing a disservice to that community in interpreting. So I didn't want to, have you guys seen when they have interpreters up there, but they're not real interpreters and they're just making things up? Like I didn't want to be that person, even though I knew like I know more than that person. I just didn't want to. So it was kind of like my confidence kind of went down, like my skills, and I didn't want it to start all over again. So I just went into my master's program. So,
But she runs ASL club, right? Have you guys gone to our ASL club? She holds it every Friday.
Every other Friday.
Every other Friday after school, she has an ASL club. Mr. Hernandez does.
So my passion's still there.
Yeah, so she'll teach students how to use ASL.
American Sign Language.
Right? It is.
What about for you?
For me, I'll work backwards then. I'm currently a school counselor. I've been at Rodriguez Prep for, I want to say 7.5 years, maybe. Prior to coming here, I was an elementary school counselor at Bing Wong Elementary. How many of you guys know where Bing Wong is at? It's over there by Curtis Middle School.
Yeah.
I started over there as a counselor. I was there for like 1.5 years. Now, working backwards, before becoming a counselor, I was a teacher. I taught 4th and 5th grade for many years. I'm going to say like 10 years over at Roosevelt Elementary. Oh, Roosevelt's on the west side, also over there by, my students would go like to King Middle School. Once they left my elementary school, they would end up at King Middle School. But anyway, I taught at Roosevelt and Henry Elementary. Prior to that, actually my first 3 years of teaching were in LA. I'm from LA usually. I'm from LA. That's where I was born and grew up. So I taught out there for 3 years and then I came over here. Prior to that, I was going to college. I was going to college getting my bachelor's degree. Work-wise, I was actually a security guard for all those years that I was in college. I was a security guard. I worked at, are you guys familiar with Smart and Final stores?
I love Smart and Final.
Okay, so I was a security guard for Smart and Final out in LA. I either was a security guard at a store or at their warehouse. They have like a big distribution center out in LA. So I worked at Smart and Final, security guard, because that allowed me to go to school. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I was working as a security guard, making a little bit of money to pay for school. And then I was working on my bachelor's degree. And then I became a teacher. And then after many years of teaching, I decided that I wanted more than a bachelor's degree. I wanted a master's degree. And I kind of decided on counseling because when I was teaching at Roosevelt Elementary, I saw what the counselor at my school was doing. And I'm like, you know what? I love what she's doing every day with our students. And then I realized that a lot of what she was doing, I was doing it with my students anyway, in a smaller group with my class. I'm like, but I would love to be able to do that with all of the school. And that's kind of what led me to school counseling. Just seeing the counselor at my elementary school doing what she did every day. And she kind of inspired me to become a counselor. Yeah.
What advice would you give to students who are interested in pursuing a career of counseling?
I would say do it. We need counselors. Mental health awareness month is next month, but just in general, awareness and mental health and support is just becoming more, we're becoming more informed, and the need for counselors is out there.
Yeah. It's a fun fact. There's school districts, in the area or in California that don't have school counselors in elementary schools or middle schools. There might have one that splits all the elementary schools. So there's still districts that don't have a school counselor per school. Here in San Bernardino, we're very lucky that every elementary has one, and middle schools have one or two, and then high schools have a lot.
Yeah.
Depending on how many students they have, yeah.
Yeah, so my advice is just getting involved, and if you know that like this is your calling, then just start getting involved within the school district and getting to learn the system and learning the role of a school counselor, because the role kind of has shifted. So like when I was in elementary, or when I was in school, school counseling was more of a guidance counselor, but now we're not guidance counselor, we're school counselors. We do more than just guide students, right? So my advice is, like Mr. Enriquez said, do it, but also get involved.
Yeah. And you can start even now. Like if you're in middle school thinking, wait, counseling is something I would love to do, then start with like just practicing by like building positive relationships with people. Be out there and be an advocate for change. Like if you see something that we can do better at school, whether it's even us or be an advocate, say something, speak to the principal, speak to us. Anyway, work on building good relationships with people. That's key. Having that ability to be a good listener. We talked about it earlier. Just be a good listener to your friends. That'll come in handy too. It's good practice. And then just be an advocate for change. If you've seen there's something that we can do better, something that's maybe not equitable or not fair, speak up, say something, talk to your teachers, talk to your principal, talk to us. That's kind of what we do. We advocate for our students. That's what we do a lot of times.
And being able to create relationships.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of hard to keep things anonymous when people are trying to report something about another student. Because, the student knows who they did it to. They know who said something. It's like, there's no really being anonymous.
We do our best. We do our best to keep it anonymous. And I always tell students, go back to what Evelyn said. Good point. Like, one of the easiest ways to be anonymous is email us. Like, we have our Google Classroom. You can report concerns, report anything. Let us know what we need to do to support you guys through email. And then we do our best to keep it anonymous, and the easiest way, the most common way that students are doing that now is through email.
Yeah.
Yep. They just email us and we understand how important it is for our students to be anonymous and
we respect that, but there is some situations that are really tricky to stay anonymous. So we are always upfront with students and letting them know that we're trying our best, but in some situations that may not be the case.
Yeah.
But we're always trying to be upfront with our students.
Yep.
Do you guys have anything you would like to add before we wrap up this part of the podcast?
I love being a counselor.
I love it too. Yeah. Good point. I always go home saying that to my family. Like, I love what I do every day. But what I also want to say is I want to congratulate you guys in this group. I love seeing students just shine in their area.
Yes.
And when I watch because I watch your podcast on YouTube, I'm one of your followers right there.
Actually, speaking of that, 5 subscribers away and Mr. Rodriguez has a pizza party.
Oh, really? 5?
Yeah.
I can get you 5.
They get to 200.
Okay. All right. I got you there. But anyway, thanks for doing this, by the way. I love the introduction of podcasts to our school.
Yeah.
And it gives people insight to what's really going on our campus. It builds community. It builds so much understanding. So I love what you guys do. So congratulations on a great job that you guys have been doing all year long on your podcast.
Yeah. Good job, guys.
Thank you.
Keep it going next year.
Yeah. Hopefully, right?
Yep, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys did a great job on this. So good job.
Well, thank you for coming.
Oh, thank you guys for inviting us. Appreciate it.
I was waiting. When are we gonna be added?
She was feeling left out.
We are now here with our vice principal, Miss Enriquez. Hi, thank you so much for coming to our podcast.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So we're going to ask you some questions because we want to find out more about what it's like to kind of be a principal, a vice principal, and also just more about you in general. And yeah.
Sounds good.
So, what are some challenges that you and Miss Intencio face at RPA?
Some challenges is just making sure that we're always keeping our minds focused on our students and getting everybody to be focused, that we're all working together to make sure you guys are successful and that we are a team. Everyone got to work together so that we can, get you all where you need to be and you can be.
Making sure everybody's in line.
Oh, yes, the lines. If it were up to me, we would just get dismissed completely and go outside for lunches. The lines are crazy.
Oh, yeah. Those lines. They never get in control.
Yes.
What? Ask questions.
I got something, so I was like, waiting for you guys. I'll ask another one. What does a typical day look like for you as a vice principal? Like, you have referrals left to write.
It's very hard to say what a typical day is because That's the one thing with this job that's different from when I was in a classroom. You have to change it up at the drop of a dime. Either if maybe a parent is showing up or a student is in need or a staff member needs you. So you just have to switch it up and kind of go with the flow. You have to be very flexible. But my day will typically start in the morning, welcoming you guys. I like to be able to be there first thing in the morning and see you guys. You probably just see me as a badge police, but I like to say hi to you guys and good morning. And, you know, not every student starts their day on a positive note. So I kind of want to do that restart. Hi, welcome. And then from there, it's getting you guys to class on time. And that's what I spend a lot of my time doing, ushering kids to class and getting you guys there in a loving way, but making sure you guys are going on time. And then meetings are always fun. Everybody wants to have a meeting and meeting with students and just building relationships with you guys. And that's my favorite part of the day, is talking to you guys and hanging out and getting to know each of you.
Yeah, that also relates to what the counselor said, because we interviewed them on Wednesday and they were talking about how like their day can just like completely like not
Change.
like be just change. I was gonna say be destroyed, but like their
Because of
day
a
can
student.
if a student needs help. And then also they also said they liked like knowing kids' names, so then they can build those like relationships.
Yep, that's one of my favorite things, and I try to get everybody's name because it's important. It's your name.
Actually, something else the counselors mentioned is that they forget about stuff with kids all the time. Like if they plan something with a kid, like to hang out with them or talk to them for a little bit, and like they completely forget about it. Do you ever forget about stuff like that?
So fortunately for me, I have Miss Genesis, who you guys all know. As soon as you walk in the door, you see her. So she has gotten so good at keeping me where I need to go and making sure that if I overlap on something because I'm talking to a student or a parent, that she reminds me to go back. Oh, don't forget, you missed this. You got to touch it. She's so good at that. If I didn't have her, I would probably just miss something. Yes. But she does a wonderful job in a loving way to be like, hey, don't forget, you got to go back and check in on this. So
What's your philosophy on education and how do they influence your decisions as vice principal?
I just want to have a very positive campus. I truly do. A positive campus where all of our students know they're loved and that they can succeed. That truly is like why I want it to come out of the classroom, have more of an influence on a wider basis and be able to promote that positivity. And I really, really try to always just kind of change the campus culture, even if it's like sometimes you guys are laughing at me instead of with me. And it's okay. I'm okay with that. I want us to be positive and happy with one another.
What's your journey like from being a vice principal from like the beginning to right now?
From the very beginning, it started finishing school. And so graduating high school, from there, I went to Cal State San Bernardino. And when I went there, I knew I wanted to be a teacher, but I thought I wanted to be a elementary school teacher. And then I had to do some extra classes in like a concentration. So I did special education. And when I did my hours with that, I fell in love. I was like, oh, this is where I'm meant to be. So Dominique in the office was actually one of my students. So that's just my special needs and working with these students. That was my passion. So I did Cal State for my bachelor's, my credential, and my master's. Yes.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. So, and then I taught at an elementary for a couple years. And then I went up to high school and I did a couple years there. And then to become a vice principal, I was ready to make a change. And so I became the program facilitator here. And what that job is, you really get to know the school. Without being in a formal vice principal role, you get to know like about testing and about all the different meetings we have, budgets, the schedule, supervision. So I started there. And then I was also in school for my, it's called an administrative credential. So that's like a teaching credential, but for administrators.
Mhm.
I got that. And then when Dr. Clyde, our last principal, left, Ms. Atencio became our principal. And then fortunately, I was able to become your guys' vice principal. And I love it.
Awesome. Yeah. Good
Long
job on
story.
making
No.
it. We're very
No,
proud of you.
It's not
You're
the
a good
longest
vice
story
principal.
we've gotten. I think the longest story was probably Miss Agencio's.
She was long,
Yeah.
huh? Mhm.
And
We made her
tearful.
cry.
Yeah.
I felt so bad. I was like, no.
Oh, no.
But
You guys took that question off, right? Because I don't want to cry.
no, you're good. How do you ensure that all students feel included and represented at the school? I know you already like touched on this. I just want more like
Details.
detail. Yeah.
Details. Just from the minute you guys step on campus, I want to make sure to say hi to you guys. And as I'm walking the hallways, just talking, or if I go up to your guys' groups and talk to you and see what's going on. Something I did at the beginning of the year is if I saw a student sitting alone, just kind of went up to them because it's hard. You guys all come from different elementary schools. So as you come up to middle school, you're not necessarily with your friend group that you went through all of elementary as if you went to your homeschool.
Mm.
So, and then our students who may be shyer, it's just harder to make friends if you're quiet. It's just, and as you know, you guys might not believe me, but I actually am really shy out in the real world. So yes. So I kind of feel for that. So I wanted to bring those kids in and kind of talk to them and just maybe connect. I even had this group of students and I'm like, well, instead of sitting by yourself, let's sit together. And now I start seeing them. They're kind of just like, I mean, if you sit next to someone, eventually you guys start talking and find something in common.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And then just making sure that I try to always be available for you guys so that, and it's funny because I think it takes a little bit longer for our 6th graders and then they get to know me. And then now I have these 7th and 8th graders that just pop into my office just to say hi. Every few minutes there's somebody coming in and I love it.
What initiatives have you introduced to try and improve RPA? And in your opinion, have they succeeded?
Something that I've really been trying, and it's something that I think is important, is it's called restorative justice. Restorative justice. And it's really about, I feel like every time a student talks about going to the VP office, they think they're going to be in trouble and there's a consequence. But that's not really the purpose of my job. I don't want to just hand out referrals and do all that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really about teaching you guys how to be successful as a student and then as you go on in high school and in life. So really, not just suspending every time a student does something wrong, but taking the time to figure out what's going on, how can we better help you? Is there skills that you maybe didn't learn yet and you need to learn? So that's something. And then getting all of our teachers on board and making sure that we're all really working together to make sure all of our students are supported.
So you care more about rehabilitation than punishment?
I do. I really think it's just teaching us, even our 8th graders right now, they all are hearing the same thing from me. I'm like, you guys, we got to get you ready to leave here because everybody's, philosophies are different and I want them to just make the right choices.
Yeah. That also kind of like goes against how sometimes principals and vice principals are like seen in like TV shows or in books or just in like the media. It's like, you get a referral, you get a referral. It's like, I remember I used to read Captain Underpants books a lot because my brother had like every single one. He even had this like inflatable like Captain Underpants thing because it came with like this like book set he got. And so it's like, it was always like the principal, Mr. Krupp, he was always like super mean, but you're proving that like not all principals can be mean.
I really don't want to be. I love when I see a student that's really made a change because of conversations after conversation. Even if we're having the same conversation over and over again in order to figure out like, okay, what's going on? When is it going to stick? I do. I really do. I think that's important to me too, because in high school, I had a vice principal like that. His name was Dr. Logan. He's passed away now, but he was, older lady now. And I still remember him and how he made me feel versus any other vice principal when I went into his office and how it wasn't just about getting you in trouble. It was like, okay, how can I help you? How can we fix this? What are we going to do differently next time?
Is there any like exciting projects or changes coming to the school?
Exciting projects or changes. Well, something that we are in the works in is making sure, I feel like mentioned earlier, it's very hard for you guys coming up from different elementary schools and meshing here, is really doing a big push of a welcoming for our sixth graders. So I feel like that's something we're really missing here. I want our students to, from the get-go, get to know our campus, our students, our teachers, and just, I think Rodriguez is a very beautiful campus, it's very different than what you would find at another school. And I want them to get connected right away because you guys are here. I know it sounds long for 3 years, but it goes by so quickly that
It really has.
So I want you guys to get connected right away. So that's something that we're starting up this year of really doing like a welcoming committee for our sixth graders.
Yeah, because I came from Rialto. I know it's not that far away from here, but still changing schools. I came from different elementaries, different middle school, and like from being with all my friends, being in a big friend group, to immediately going to a new school, new house, new everything. And then it was just, I don't know, it's a big change. Like no friends. Oh, but now I have.
Yeah. I just want to maybe make that push a little bit quicker now. That way we can get our students connected to one another.
When I was in 6th grade, I also kind of felt the push because I'm in 7th grade now, but I remember I walked in, it's like, you're an eagle. Guess what? You're an eagle. I'm like, okay, I'm an eagle. Because I used to go to North Park, so I was like, oh, I'm a coyote. But now I'm like, okay, I'm an eagle. Fun. Like, I don't know what sound eagle makes, but.
Have you not listened to your intro? It's the eagle call.
But like, it sounded reversed to me. I don't know why.
Just make a big screech noise. I think you'll.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that's a falcon.
Oh.
Do you know your birds?
No.
I don't.
Me too.
I want to say caca, but I know that that's not it.
Oh, speaking of birds, I know this is kind of off topic, but last night there was a mama duck in our backyard, and she was going into our pool, and she had 2 little ducklings, and then we found out that the 3rd duckling was in the neighbor's pool, and so we had to get it out and bring it back to her. This morning there was another female duck and another male duck, and then they left, but the mama with the ducklings is still at our house.
You have a backyard and a pool?
The pool's in the backyard.
Yeah.
It's because like I have a small house but a big backyard.
See, I have like a really big backyard.
I don't even have a backyard.
You don't have a backyard?
No.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
So what's the most rewarding part of your job like?
I think to me the most rewarding
Is it the
part.
money?
You would think, but it's not. No. To me, the most rewarding part is when a student on their own comes and talks to me and lets me know, like, hey, keep doing what you're doing because it is making a change. And they'll tell me their own personal experience, like whatever they have gone through that we've talked through, and just those thoughtful notes and conversations are like everything. Yeah. So I truly, truly love it. And oh, it's my boss. It's just something that I appreciate it even more because, I told you guys I taught special ed before.
It must be important.
It must be important, but
It's okay.
she could ask Genesis. Genesis knows where I'm at always.
Mr. Archer.
Mr. Archer, yes. So just seeing that, getting that information from students and letting me know how they feel, it makes me feel like, okay, you're making the right choice. Because sometimes I'm like, man, is this restorative? Is this not going where it's supposed to? But then when you see that end, that outcome of where they're at, and I'm like, okay, I'm doing the right thing. So I'm excited as I do this job for a bit longer, seeing students who go to high school and start graduating and coming back and telling me all the amazing things you guys are doing. And that's what I'm so excited for. Like, I can't wait for that time to come.
You're kind of talking about how it's like sometimes during the process it might be like, am I good enough? But like afterwards it's like,
oh
yes.
yeah, no, I definitely sometimes, because sometimes it takes a while to get through to our students and make sure that they're making the right choices, and it makes me question myself. But then after a while, when you start to see that change, or they'll come back and talk, it's like, okay, I am approaching this the right way. So
yeah. Talking about like students coming back to you and like stuff working, what's your most memorable moment so far as being a vice principal?
But real hard.
Most memorable moment.
It's okay to have like more than
Years ago,
one. More than one, too.
Let me think. I'm trying to think.
It's okay. I also kind of have like a memory of a goldfish, so you're good.
As a VP,
A goldfish has a better memory than
I think in relation to this job, one of my things that reminds me, I think a lot of our students won't necessarily, a teacher and a student, it may or may not have talked about that they've gotten a low level. And so sometimes I'll get called to talk to a student, maybe you can get through to them. So I'll go over and the student told me, I didn't know I got a low level. What are you talking? I would have just stopped if they would have told me I got a low level. And how did you not know? And I'm like, okay. And I know myself sometimes you just get going and you maybe not, you don't remember to,
Yeah.
but I'm like, okay, look it, you got to get pulled aside and talked to individually. It's probably a low level because as you go to high school, I want you to remember that. But it was just so funny. Oh my gosh, if they would have told me, I would have stopped. So that's one of my favorite memories, my most recent favorite memory with this.
Yeah. That reminds me of something because my mom, she works also at a school, and so she's a librarian, so she might have heard this from word of mouth, or she might have saw it. I don't know, but apparently this kid threw a rock at another like little girl, and then they're like, "Why did you do it?" And then he was like, "But I was aiming for the teacher." I was like, "Oh,
Yes.
I heard it, and I laughed so hard." But I was
Better aim.
Oh
I don't know.
no.
It's because the kid like walked in front of the teacher. So
how do you
Mr. President, watch out.
how do you think students can like contribute on helping like your school become better?
I think the biggest thing, and I always tell you guys, talk to each other. If you see someone doing something wrong, say something because it makes our whole school rough. I always tell them I'm always okay if a student asks me, but why? As long as it's in a respectful, there's nothing wrong with knowing the whys. So with the restaurants for right now, I'm like, if you see someone writing in there, tell them to stop because all that happens is then we have to create more rules to make sure that these things aren't happening. So talk to them and just be like, no, don't do that. That's not cool. And a lot of the time, peer influence, as you guys know, it's even a little positive peer influence is good. So just talking to each other. And if you see something wrong, say something because you guys I always say when we're out there, there's maybe 2-3 adults out there and 250 kids. So if you guys see someone being mean or just not being kind, it's okay to say, hey, stop. That's not cool. I think that's the biggest impact our students can have. And that'll just bring us all connected as one.
yeah, help out each other. Yeah. It's not just one big person doing all the work. It's like we can all work together.
It really is. As cheesy as it sounds, it's like, yeah, we just got to work together so we can make our campus what we all want it to be.
Next question.
What advice do you want to give to middle school students who want to make the most of their time in middle school?
I would say enjoy middle school. Really, truly build your friends because a lot of you guys will go to the same high schools. I know some of us will go to separate ones, but build those friendships. Learn all you can right now because we do have some amazing teachers on this campus. And from what I've heard, our former students that come back, they'll talk about this school really did prepare me for high school. So take advantage of that. Take advantage of the after school tutoring, get involved in sports. Middle school is a good place where you can try something that, maybe I never tried softball before, but I'm going to go try it. Try out new things, go to our clubs, get involved, see what you like. And you're able to see what you like by trying it. You learn by doing. So go out there, try different things. Our Makers Club or debate. Go maybe it's something you're into and you'll get into. So just experience different things. And there's a lot of things on our campus for you to get involved with. Try it out. That way you can know what you want to get into in high school.
And we only have like 3 years. It's like not like elementary where you have what, like 6 years.
It goes very, very
High
quickly.
school has 4 years. So this is like
does
the
it?
lowest time, like
Oh yeah.
the lowest like what's it called, time you have in school.
So take advantage of that time because it really, really does go fast.
And then also you're talking about trying stuff, and it just made me think of like when I was like really little, I would watch Yo Gabba Gabba, and it's like there was the I even got like a Yo Gabba Gabba t-shirt, and it was and I had like a pajama set too, and then I had all the dolls. But I remember when the songs was like, "Try it, you'll like it." It makes me think of that. Oh yeah, yes, I remember that one.
Actually, speaking of Yo Gabba Gabba, I was talking to my dad once, and he was like, he remembers every day, whenever I got back home from my preschool, I would turn on Yo Gabba Gabba and eat Gerber chips on the couch. And sit there and watch Yo Gabba Gabba all day long.
I don't
my
even know what that
goodness.
is.
You don't?
No.
So it's basically, it's like, this is so off topic, but there's 4 little like monster creatures and then one robot, and then they're in their like own little kind of like worlds, and then there's
Yeah.
DJ Lance.
Yeah.
He's
big
just
guy.
there. He's like, here's your snack. And then you like learn a lesson, or sometimes it'll cut to like a little kid. It's like, I like to dance. And then sometimes it's like, here's a story. And there's like a
It's a
song.
good
in it.
show.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Mm.
How do you ensure that students feel included and represented at the school?
Did I answer this one already? Or have I just
Maybe.
been touching on it? I feel like I did. I've been
Touching.
touching on it. So just really being present. I think that's key. If you don't see me, then how are you going to feel connected? And if I just go around and I engage with you guys and remind you guys, talk to each other, bring you guys together, and supporting our different clubs that we have on campus that promote inclusion and bringing us all together as one.
Reminds me of like those like pictures, like the posters. I'm gonna try and draw it, but it's like the earth, and then it's like a bunch of stick figures holding hands.
Holding hands. Oh, I know that.
Yeah, I think about it a lot.
Do you have any hopes of becoming principal in the future?
Not right now, but in the future, I would say so. Yes, I want to learn all I can about being a vice principal and under Miss Atencio, learning, different skills. And the big thing for me is I know once you become a principal, you're stuck in more meetings and behind closed doors more. And I'm just not ready to give up that interaction with students anytime soon.
But it's also good to have ambition.
Yes. So in the future, yes. But right now, I really do enjoy my position and where I'm at.
What's like one thing that you're like, it can be big or small, like what's one thing you're like looking forward to doing or like you're trying to like accomplish
Professionally?
professionally
Let
in
me
your
see.
life?
In my life, I want to truly, work with students and get to know them and give them, everybody's home life is different. So I want to be able to connect with our students and let them know that even the ones that are leaving, they'll tell me, oh, are you going to miss them? I'm like, yeah, but you're going to come visit, right? So just letting them know that they can always come back. We can always continue to talk to one another.
I
You always
definitely
be
want
there
to
for
come
them?
back. And
You'll always be there for them.
Always. And that's what I tell them. I'm like, just because you leave and you're not my student doesn't mean that we're not there. If you need something, come and talk. You need help with that college application, come see me. You need help with FAFSA, we'll work on it. We'll get it together.
I'm going to come back to Miss Amaro next year for this camp that they're doing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The one that you could get scholarship from and everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, that's
She
good.
says she can help me with my application because she said the last person she up got in.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Mr. Archer, do you want us to start wrapping it up now?
Yeah.
Alright, well,
Wait, should we ask her if she has any questions?
yeah, that's what,
Oh, yeah,
do you have anything to add before we wrap up this
Add
interview?
I'd like
No.
to ask.
or ask? Oh, how are you guys liking podcasting? This is pretty cool. I like your guys' setup.
Well, I've missed 2 episodes, I think.
I missed one.
Because one of them I was sick. Really bad sick.
Oh yeah.
And the other one I just opted out.
Yeah, I've been enjoying podcasting, both interviewing people and writing the script.
Yeah.
I joined mid-school year, so I don't have that much experience, but it's still good.
I've been enjoying podcasting because of our amazing teacher over there, Mr. Autry.
Is that written down right there?
No.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. No, this is really cool. This is awesome. I love this because I feel like this is nowadays there's always these podcasts online and yeah.
You got a poster.
I know, very fancy, you guys. No, I just thank you guys for allowing me to be on here, and just know that you're always loved, you're always here, and you're always welcome back. And once an eagle, always an eagle. All right,
Alright, well, thank you for coming on the podcast
Thank you.
thank you guys,
and making time to be able to get here and ignoring your boss.
And sorry.
I suggest you go back up this.
I will do that.
Let's not try to
Yeah.
go low.
I mean, if you do lose the job, you can watch lots and lots of Yo Gabba Gabba.
4 hours.
Well, thank you.
Eagle time. You hear it? It's coming. Eagle time, eagle time, eagle time, eagle. Eagle time, 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 eagle. Eagle time, 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 eagle. Eagle time,